No, I don't miss it. It's painful. It's miserable. I didn't enjoy it a bit.
The rise of a rock legend. Imagine being on top of the world 1 minute and hitting rock bottom the next. That's the story of Bon Jovi. From selling millions of records to battling addiction, mental breakdowns, and near-death experiences, the band's journey is far from the glitzy image we see on stage. Let's uncover the sad truth behind the music. In 1983, Bon Jovi burst onto the music scene with big hair and even bigger dreams. They quickly became the poster boys for rock and roll success. Their 1986 album, Slippery When Wet, was a game changer, selling over 20 million copies worldwide. Hits like You Give Love a Bad Name and Livin' on a Prayer topped the charts, making Bon Jovi household names. On the surface, they had it all: fame, fortune, and adoring fans. They lived the rock star life, with sold-out stadiums and wild parties. But beneath the glitz and glamour, a darker reality was brewing. The price of fame was higher than anyone could have imagined, and soon the band would face challenges that threatened to tear them apart. The price of fame. As the spotlight grew brighter, so did the shadows. Jon Bon Jovi's perfect image was about to crack, revealing a struggle that nearly cost him everything. The rock star life wasn't all it was cracked up to be, and behind that million-dollar smile, Jon was hiding a dark secret that would shock his fans. Being the face of one of the world's biggest rock bands came with immense pressure. Jon Bon Jovi felt the weight of expectations crashing down on him. He had to maintain a flawless image while dealing with the challenges of fame, and it was taking a toll on his mental health. The early 90s brought a crisis point for Jon. The stress of being in the public eye, constantly judged and scrutinized, pushed him to the brink. One day, while driving to see a psychologist, Jon hit rock bottom. He seriously thought about jumping out of his moving car. The pressure had become so overwhelming that he considered ending it all right there on the highway. This shocking moment was a wake-up call. Jon realized he needed help, but asking for it wasn't easy. He felt like he had to be strong for everyone else, the band, the fans, his family. But inside, he was falling apart. The constant demands of fame and success began to take their toll on all the band members' personal lives. Being away from home for long stretches, living out of suitcases, and dealing with the pressures of always having to be on started to wear them down. Relationships suffered, and some turned to unhealthy coping mechanisms to deal with the stress. Jon described the weight of fame as feeling like the weight of the world on his shoulders. It wasn't just about writing hit songs and putting on great shows anymore. He felt responsible for the livelihoods of everyone connected to the band, from the roadies to the record label executives. One wrong move, one flop album, and it could all come crashing down. The band members started to feel like they were living in a pressure cooker. The public wanted more hit songs, more tours, more of everything, but behind the scenes, they were struggling to keep it together. The gap between their public image and their private reality grew wider every day. Jon's mental health struggles didn't magically disappear overnight. He's been open about the fact that it's an ongoing battle. In an interview, he admitted, "It was a very, very difficult time that I haven't fully rebounded from yet." But he also highlighted the crucial role his wife, Dorothea, played in supporting him through these challenges. The story of Bon Jovi isn't just about chart-topping hits and sold-out arenas. It's also about the high price of fame and the toll it can take on a person's mental health. Jon's struggle shows that even those who seem to have it all can be fighting inner battles we know nothing about. Battling inner demons. While Jon struggled with the weight of fame, a darker threat was brewing within the band. Two of Bon Jovi's key members were spiraling into a dangerous addiction. Would their personal demons spell the end of one of rock's biggest acts? Richie Sambora, Bon Jovi's lead guitarist and Jon's right-hand man, was fighting a losing battle with alcohol addiction. His struggle became public during a 2007 Unplugged session when Sambora was reportedly too drunk to perform. This incident was more than just an embarrassing moment. It was a sign of a deeper problem that had been simmering beneath the surface for years. Sambora's life was falling apart behind the scenes. He was dealing with the death of his father and going through a divorce from actress Heather Locklear. These personal tragedies fueled his addiction, creating a vicious cycle that was hard to break. In March 2008, things got even worse when Sambora was arrested for drunk driving. He was weaving across lanes, putting himself and others in danger. But Sambora wasn't alone in his struggle. Tico Torres, Bon Jovi's drummer, was also fighting alcoholism. In the 2009 documentary, When We Were Beautiful, Torres opened up about his battle. He admitted, "I was killing myself with drinking years ago. It was a shocking revelation for fans who had no idea what was happening behind closed doors." Jon Bon Jovi confirmed the severity of Torres's addiction, saying he had a lot of demons and was a really bad drunk. These weren't just words, they were a glimpse into the painful reality the band was facing every day. The personal struggles of Sambora and Torres started to affect Bon Jovi's professional life. Their addictions were threatening the band's reputation and their ability to perform. The perfect image of Bon Jovi was starting to crack, revealing the human flaws beneath the rock star facade. Imagine trying to keep a band together when two of its core members are battling addiction. Jon found himself not just worrying about his own mental health, but also carrying the weight of his bandmates' struggles. He had to balance being a friend, a boss, and a support system all at once. The pressure was immense. Every performance became a gamble. Would everyone be sober enough to play? Would they make it through the show without incident? The uncertainty must have been nerve-wracking for Jon and the rest of the crew. But Jon didn't give up on his friends. In interviews, he expressed deep concern for Sambora and Torres. He emphasized the importance of supporting them through their addiction battles. It wasn't just about keeping the band together. It was about saving his friends' lives. The story of Bon Jovi's struggle with addiction shows that even the biggest stars aren't immune to personal demons. They are real people who were fighting for their lives and careers. These struggles also highlight the intense pressures of fame, the demands of constant touring, the expectation to always be on, and the easy access to alcohol and drugs created a perfect storm for addiction. It's a side of the rock and roll lifestyle that fans rarely see, but one that has claimed many lives in the music industry. Health scares and near-death experiences. Just when it seemed Bon Jovi had conquered their demons, fate had other plans. What medical crisis threatened to silence one of rock's most iconic voices forever? The answer would push Jon Bon Jovi to the brink of retirement. Bon Jovi's journey through fame wasn't just about battling addiction and mental health struggles. The band faced serious health scares that threatened their careers and even their lives. These experiences forced them to confront their own mortality and reassess what mattered in life. One of the most shocking health crises hit David Bryan, Bon Jovi's keyboardist, during a South American tour. Bryan contracted parasites that wreaked havoc on his body. He lost a staggering 40 pounds as the parasites attacked his digestive system. Bryan described the terrifying ordeal, saying, "They ate out my intestines and my stomach and put me out of commission for about 6 months. Imagine being at the top of your game 1 minute, then fighting for your life the next. It's a stark reminder that even rock stars aren't immune to the random cruelties of nature. But David Bryan's health scare was just the beginning. Jon Bon Jovi, the voice and face of the band, faced a crisis that threatened to end his career. For years, Jon had been struggling with vocal cord issues. The problem got so bad that he could barely perform. Jon explained, "Even though I'm trained and I have studied the craft for these 40 years, eventually the body gives out." It's hard to imagine the frustration and fear Jon must have felt as his voice, the very thing that made him a star, began to fail him. The situation became so dire that Jon had to undergo surgery in 2022. This wasn't just a minor procedure, it was a make-or-break moment for his career. Jon described the emotional toll, saying, "The thing that gave me so much pleasure had been taken away. Picture the anxiety of not knowing if you'll ever be able to do the thing you love most again. It's a nightmare scenario for any performer, let alone one of the biggest names in rock history." These health scares didn't just affect the individuals, they shook the entire band to its core. Suddenly, the invincible rock stars were faced with their own fragility. It forced them to confront big questions about life, death, and what really matters. Jon reflected on this shift in perspective, saying, "It's not about seizing the day anymore. I think it's about embracing the day." This change in outlook shows how deeply these experiences affected the band. The emotional impact of these health crises extended beyond the band members to their families. Imagine being a loved one, watching helplessly as someone you care about faces a life-threatening illness or career-ending injury. Jon acknowledged the crucial support he received during his vocal cord struggles, saying, "My wife has been phenomenal." It's a reminder that behind every rock star, there's often a support system helping them through the toughest times. These health scares also shed light on the toll that the rock star lifestyle can take on the body. Years of touring, late nights, and the stress of constantly being in the spotlight can wear a person down. It's easy for fans to forget that their favorite performers are human, with all the vulnerabilities that come with it. Bon Jovi's experiences serve as a sobering reminder of the physical price of fame, family turmoil, and personal sacrifice. While Bon Jovi battled health issues on stage, an even fiercer struggle raged within his own home. How did the pressures of stardom push his family to the brink? The answer reveals a side of the rock star few fans have ever seen. Jon Bon Jovi's public image was that of a happily married rock star, but behind the scenes, his family life was far from perfect. In 1989, Jon married his high school sweetheart, Dorothea Hurley, in a surprise Las Vegas wedding. This spontaneous decision caught everyone off guard, including Jon's management team. But as the years went by, the strain of fame began to take its toll on their relationship. Jon has admitted that he made mistakes that almost tore their marriage apart. The constant touring, media scrutiny, and pressures of maintaining his rock star image created a huge strain on their relationship. In an interview, Jon emphasized how important mutual respect was in keeping their bond strong. He said, "Mutual respect, I think, is what it really comes down to. But even with this foundation, their marriage faced serious challenges. The rock and roll lifestyle often clashed with family life. Jon found himself torn between his responsibilities as a global superstar and his role as a husband and father. The long stretches away from home, the temptations of life on the road, and the intense public scrutiny all threatened to pull his family apart. It's a familiar story in the music industry, but one that hit Jon particularly hard. But the real test of Jon and Dorothea's relationship came in November 2012, when their daughter, Stephanie, suffered a drug overdose while attending college. This traumatic event shook the entire family to its core. Jon described it as his worst moment as a father. Imagine the fear and helplessness he must have felt, knowing his daughter was in danger and he couldn't protect her. When Jon learned that Stephanie was okay after the overdose, he felt immense relief, but the emotional toll on the family was enormous. Jon opened up about the experience, saying, "It was horrible, a horrible moment. This incident forced Jon to confront the reality that even rock star families aren't immune to the dangers and pressures facing young people today." The overdose incident opened Jon's eyes to how common such problems are. He admitted, "That problem is much more prevalent than I knew. It's a stark reminder that fame and fortune can't shield families from life's hardships. In fact, growing up in the spotlight often brings its own set of challenges for celebrity children." Following Stephanie's overdose, both Jon and Dorothea rallied to support their daughter. They had to put aside their own fears and emotions to be there for Stephanie when she needed them most. This crisis tested their strength as a family and forced them to reevaluate their priorities. The incident also highlighted the difficult balance Jon had to strike between his public and private lives. How do you deal with a family crisis when the whole world is watching? Jon and Dorothea had to navigate this traumatic experience while also managing the media attention that came with it. It's a pressure few of us can imagine. Despite these challenges, Jon and Dorothea's relationship has endured. Jon credits their lasting partnership to mutual respect and personal growth. But it's clear that their journey hasn't been easy. They've had to work hard to overcome the obstacles that fame and fortune have thrown their way. The band falls apart. Jon's personal life may have stabilized, but his musical world was about to implode. In 2013, a decision by one band member would shake Bon Jovi to its core, leaving Jon feeling betrayed and lost. How did this shocking turn of events nearly bring down one of rock's most enduring acts? The year 2013 started like any other for Bon Jovi. The band was gearing up for their Because We Can tour, promoting their new album, What About Now? But behind the scenes, tensions were brewing. Richie Sambora, Bon Jovi's lead guitarist and Jon's right-hand man for 30 years, was struggling with personal issues. On April 2nd, 2013, just hours before a show in Calgary, Canada, Sambora dropped a bombshell. He announced he was leaving the tour, citing personal reasons. This wasn't just a temporary break. Sambora was walking away from the band he'd helped build for 3 decades. The news hit Jon like a ton of bricks. In an interview, Jon described the shock. Everything was great, and we were just coming off a break, but he never came to work again. It was a shock. Imagine showing up to work one day only to find your partner of 30 years had suddenly quit. That's the reality Jon faced. Sambora's departure left a gaping hole in the band. He wasn't just a guitarist, he was Jon's songwriting partner, backup vocalist, and a key part of Bon Jovi's image. Fans were stunned, and many wondered if this was the end of Bon Jovi as they knew it. For Jon, the emotional impact was devastating. He felt betrayed and abandoned. The man he'd shared stages with for decades, who'd been by his side through all the ups and downs of rock stardom, was suddenly gone. Jon admitted that he hasn't fully recovered from this period of struggle, saying, "It was a very, very difficult time that I haven't fully rebounded from yet." The rest of the band was left to pick up the pieces. They had to quickly find a replacement guitarist and rework their live show. But more than that, they had to figure out who they were without Sambora. It wasn't just about filling a spot on stage, it was about redefining the band's identity. Sambora later explained his decision, saying, "It wasn't a popular decision by any means, obviously, but at the end of it there wasn't really a choice. He felt he needed to focus on being a father to his daughter." While his reasons were personal, the impact on the band was huge. The split created a rift between Jon and Richie that lasted for years. Fans took sides, and rumors swirled about the real reason for Sambora's departure. The band soldiered on, but something was missing. The chemistry that had made Bon Jovi special for so long was gone. For Jon, this period was marked by darkness and pressure. He had to keep the band going, deal with disappointed fans, and manage his own feelings of betrayal and loss. It was a test of his leadership and his passion for music. There were moments when he questioned whether Bon Jovi could or should continue without Sambora. The years following Sambora's departure were a time of soul-searching for the band. They had to prove they could still deliver the Bon Jovi experience fans expected, even without one of their key members. It wasn't easy, but slowly they began to find their footing again. Industry challenges and artistic struggles. Just when Bon Jovi thought they'd weathered the worst, the ground shifted beneath their feet. The rise of grunge music threatened to make their style obsolete overnight. Could the band that once ruled the airwaves find a way to stay relevant, or would they fade into rock and roll history? The 1990s brought a seismic shift to the music industry. Grunge exploded onto the scene, and suddenly Bon Jovi's big hair and power ballads seemed like relics of a bygone era. Jon Bon Jovi and the band found themselves at a crossroads. Their sound, once the soundtrack of a generation, was now at risk of becoming a punchline. Jon felt the pressure mounting. He knew they needed to evolve. But how? The band that had sold millions of records and packed stadiums was now struggling to find its place in this new musical landscape. It wasn't just about changing their style, it was about redefining their entire identity as artists. The frustration was palpable. Jon said, "I was willing to outwork everybody. I think that's what it came down to. But hard work alone wasn't enough. They needed to reinvent themselves without losing the essence of what made them Bon Jovi." This period of uncertainty took a toll on the band. They were used to being on top, and now they were fighting just to stay relevant. The stress of trying to write hit songs in a changing industry weighed heavily on Jon. He felt responsible not just for his own career, but for the livelihoods of everyone connected to the band. Adding to their troubles were issues with their record label. The relationship had soured, and Jon felt creatively stifled. This frustration came to a head with the 2015 album Burning Bridges. Jon described it as a fan record that reflected his desire to break free from Mercury Records. It was a bold move, but one that showed just how desperate the situation had become. The band's struggle to adapt wasn't just about music, it was about identity. For years, their image had been tied to a specific era of rock. Now, they had to figure out who they were in this new world. It was like starting over, but with the added pressure of their past success hanging over them. Jon and the band knew they couldn't just rehash their old sound. They had to push themselves creatively, experimenting with different styles and influences. This wasn't easy for a group that had found such success with a specific formula. Every new song, every change in direction felt like a risk. The pressure to stay relevant while staying true to themselves created a constant internal struggle. Jon found himself second-guessing every decision, wondering if each new song would be the one to either save or sink their career. The music industry can be unforgiving, and Jon knew that one misstep could mean the end of Bon Jovi as a relevant force in rock. Despite these challenges, Bon Jovi refused to give up. They began to experiment, incorporating new influences into their music. Albums like Lost Highway and Have a Nice Day showed a band willing to evolve, blending their classic rock sound with country influences. It was a gamble, but one that helped them reach new audiences and maintain their relevance. The journey wasn't easy. There were moments of doubt, failed experiments, and harsh criticism. But through it all, Jon and the band kept pushing forward. They knew that standing still meant certain death in the music industry, so they chose to keep moving, keep evolving, finding redemption. As Bon Jovi fought to stay relevant in music, Jon faced a deeper struggle. How could a man who had it all find true meaning beyond the stage? The answer would surprise even his biggest fans. Jon Bon Jovi's journey took an unexpected turn when he decided to use his fame and fortune for a greater purpose. In 2006, he and his wife Dorothea founded the JBJ Soul Foundation, an organization aimed at tackling some of society's biggest problems: hunger, poverty, and homelessness. One of the foundation's most impactful initiatives is the JBJ Soul Kitchen. This isn't your typical celebrity-owned restaurant. Instead, it operates on a unique pay-what-you-can model. Customers contribute what they can afford for a meal, creating a sense of community and dignity for those facing food insecurity. The impact of this project became even more apparent during tough times. Jon described the situation during the pandemic, saying it was just a huge spike in demand. The Soul Kitchen became a lifeline for many, providing meals when people needed them most. But Jon and Dorothea didn't stop at feeding the hungry. They expanded their efforts to address housing issues too. Working with groups like Habitat for Humanity, they've helped renovate homes and build affordable housing units. In fact, the JBJ Soul Foundation has been involved in building over 500 affordable homes, giving families a chance at stability and self-sufficiency. Dorothea Bon Jovi has been a driving force behind these efforts. She expressed her passion for the cause, stating how unacceptable it is for families to be unable to put food on the table. Her leadership at the JBJ Soul Kitchen reflects a deep commitment to making a real difference in people's lives. For Jon, these philanthropic efforts provided a new sense of purpose beyond his music career. After years of chasing hit songs and album sales, he found fulfillment in serving others. It's a stark contrast to the glitzy rock star image he once embodied. This shift in focus also influenced Bon Jovi's music. Their more recent work has moved away from the glam rock image of their early days. Instead, you'll find songs tackling serious themes and showing more emotional depth. It's as if Jon's personal growth and newfound perspectives have seeped into his songwriting. Jon's journey from rock star to philanthropist shows how fame and fortune aren't always enough to bring true satisfaction. By using his resources and platform to help others, he found a deeper sense of meaning and purpose. It's a reminder that even those who seem to have it all can still struggle to find their place in the world. The story of Jon Bon Jovi's charitable work is more than just a feel-good tale of a celebrity giving back. It's about a man who faced his own inner emptiness and chose to fill it by lifting others up. In doing so, he not only changed his own life, but made a real difference in the lives of thousands. The legacy continues. Just when Jon Bon Jovi thought he had found his true calling in philanthropy, fate had other plans. A cruel twist threatened to silence his voice forever, pushing the rock icon to face his greatest challenge yet. Could the man who had reinvented himself as a charitable force find the strength to overcome this unexpected hurdle? Despite the setbacks, Bon Jovi isn't ready to hang up their guitars just yet. The band released their 16th studio album, Forever, on June 7th, 2024. This new record marks a significant milestone for a group that has been rocking the music world for over 4 decades. Jon Bon Jovi sees Forever as more than just another album. For him, it's a deeply personal journey of rediscovering joy after facing some of the toughest challenges of his life. The rock star recently battled a serious vocal cord injury that nearly ended his singing career. It was a dark time that left him questioning everything. Jon said about the album, "I was willing to outwork everybody. I think that's what it came down to." This statement shows the determination that has kept Bon Jovi going through thick and thin. It's not just about talent or luck. It's about putting in the hard work, even when the odds seem stacked against you. The band's ability to adapt and stay relevant in the ever-changing music industry is truly remarkable. They've sold over 130 million albums worldwide and have been active for more than 40 years. That's no small feat in a business where many artists fade away after a few hit singles. But Jon Bon Jovi's legacy isn't just about platinum records and sold-out stadiums. In a recent interview, he reflected on what truly matters to him. "I look back at the accomplishments of the band and my family, and I feel great pride," he said. It's clear that for Jon, success isn't measured solely by chart positions or album sales. His family life holds just as much importance as his musical achievements. The band's journey hasn't been without its share of struggles. Their story is being told in a new documentary called Thank You, Good Night, The Bon Jovi Story, which recently premiered on Hulu. The film doesn't shy away from the hard times, including Jon's recent vocal surgery. It's a raw look at the price of fame and the challenges that come with staying on top for so long. Jon's recovery from his vocal cord injury wasn't easy. It took hard work, dedication, and a lot of uncertainty. There were moments when he wasn't sure if he'd ever be able to sing again. But true to form, Jon approached this challenge with the same determination that has defined his career. Throughout all the ups and downs, one constant in Jon's life has been his wife, Dorothea. Their enduring partnership has been a crucial part of his story. Jon credits their 35-year marriage to mutual respect and support. It's a reminder that behind every rock star, there's often a strong support system helping them through the tough times. As Bon Jovi prepares to release Forever, it's clear that the band isn't content to rest on their laurels. They're still pushing themselves creatively, still trying to connect with fans in new ways. It's this drive that has kept them relevant long after many of their contemporaries have faded away. The true measure of success. Bon Jovi's journey shows that even rock stars face tough times. Their story isn't just about hit songs and sold-out shows. It's about dealing with addiction, mental health struggles, and family problems. Jon Bon Jovi learned that fame and fortune don't guarantee happiness. The band's ups and downs teach us that success comes at a price. Jon said, "It's not about seizing the day anymore. I think it's about embracing the day. This shows how his view of success changed over time. He realized that enjoying life's moments is more important than always chasing the next big thing. Bon Jovi's story reminds us that it's okay to struggle and change. They faced hard times, but kept going. Jon found new meaning through charity work. Their journey shows that true success isn't just about fame, but about growing as a person and helping others.